Today we are going to discuss the different mechanisms required to produce different types of torques, that is deflecting torque, controlling torque and damping torque. As you all know that there are three different types of forces that are required to operate an instrument in a satisfactory manner. They are deflecting force, controlling force and damping force. So now we shall see the different mechanisms that are available to produce those different types of forces. So firstly we shall discuss about deflecting force. The different mechanisms for producing deflecting force are, there are three in number. First one is a force between permanent magnet and current carrying coil. Secondly, force between two current carrying coils. Third one, force between current carrying coil and soft iron disc. So we shall see one by one in detail. First one, force between permanent magnet and current carrying coil. So here you can see the figure in which there is represented as PM, which is called as permanent magnet, and it has north pole and south pole. These dotted lines represents the magnetic lines of force, and an iron bar is taken and it is wounded with a copper coil. Suppose if the electric current is passed through that copper coil which is wounded over an iron bar, that iron bar is behaved as an electromagnet. Since a pointer is attached to it, this iron bar is attracted towards the permanent magnet. Since the magnetic field established by the permanent magnet is heavier when compared to the magnetic field established by the electromagnet, hence this electromagnet is attracted towards the permanent magnet and hence the pointer gets deflected. In this way it is possible to achieve a deflecting force. So this deflecting force is achieved between a permanent magnet and a current carrying coil. Now second mechanism is force between two current carrying coils. So in this figure I have taken two iron bars, and these two iron bars are wounded with a single copper coil and the electric current is passed through it. Once the electric current is passed through the iron bar which is wounded with copper coil, those two current carrying coils wounded on an iron bar behaves as electromagnet. So one electromagnet tries to move towards the another electromagnet. So here I have attached a spindle to the second iron bar so that the second iron bar tries to move towards the first iron bar and hence the pointer which is attached gets deflected. So in this way the deflecting force is achieved between two current carrying coils. And last mechanism is force between a current carrying coil and a soft iron disc. From the above two methods it is clear that whenever an iron bar is wounded with copper coil and passed with electric supply, it behaves as an electromagnet. Suppose if a soft iron disc which is attached with spindle is placed near to that electromagnet, then as already known that the magnetic field established by the electromagnet is heavier when compared to the weight of soft iron disc, and hence the soft iron disc is getting attracted towards the electromagnet. That is, the soft iron disc move towards the electromagnet and hence the pointer attached to that soft iron disc gets deflected. In this way the deflecting force is achieved between current carrying coil and soft iron disc. So with this I can say you that I have demonstrated the different types of mechanisms that are available to produce deflecting force. Now I shall proceed with the different mechanisms that are available to produce the next force, that is controlling force. There are only two mechanisms. One is gravity control method and other is a spring control method. So we shall see both of them in detail. So firstly I would like to discuss gravity control method. So here in this method or in this type of control, a small weight is placed on an arm attached to the moving system whose position is adjustable and it produces controlling torque due to gravity. So in the above figure shown, the rest position, the pointer is at rest position so that the control torque is 0. But when system gets deflection of an angle theta, then weight acts at a distance L from the center. But the balancing weight tries to restore back the pointer to its original position, whose component is W sin theta. Hence, the controlling torque is given by the product of W sin theta and L, which is WL sin theta, where W is balance weight and L represents the length. So both are constant, and hence replacing those two terms with a single constant, K, since it is gravity control method, suffix G. So finally Tc is equals to Kg into sin theta. Thus the controlling torque is directly proportional to the sine of angle of deflection of moving system. Coming on to the advantages of this method, there is no aging effect and there is no temperature error. Whereas the disadvantages is from the relationship, that is Tc is the controlling torque is directly proportional to sine of angle of deflection of moving system, that is it follows non-linear relationship. And also the major disadvantage is that this mechanism must be always placed in a vertical manner. Okay, next, spring control method. So this figure represents the spring control method. Consider a spring control mechanism inside the meter in which the pointer is initially at the rest position as shown in the figure. Whenever the flow of current through the meter gets increased, then the force acting on the spring increases. Due to this force, the compression of spring takes place, resulting in the displacement of pointer, and hence the force is termed as deflecting force. During the development of deflection force inside the meter, the another force is developed with same quantity but in opposite direction, which is termed as controlling force, and this makes the pointer to comes to rest position. Thus the controlling force is made proportional to the moving system's angle of deflection. That is, mathematically it can be said that controlling torque is directly proportional to angle of deflection. By replacing it with a constant, we can express it as T suffix C, since it is spring control mechanism, T suffix C, where C represents controlling and T represents torque, is equals to K into theta, where K is proportionality constant, which is given as EBT cube by 12L, where E represents Young's modulus of spring material, B represents width of the spring, T represents thickness of the spring, and small l represents length of the spring, whereas theta represents angular deflection in radians, and hence the units for controlling torque is given as Newton meter. Coming on to the comparison between those two methods, that is spring control method and gravity control method. So spring control method possesses uniformity in scale, whereas gravity control is following a non-linear relationship such that the scale is cramped at beginning and at the end. In spring control mechanism, the controlling torque is proportional to angle of deflection, whereas in gravity control method, it is proportional to sine of angle of deflection. The spring control mechanism costs high where compared to gravity control method. The spring control mechanism can be placed in any direction, whereas the gravity control method has a disadvantage that it should be placed only in vertical direction. Error because of temperature will not occur in case of gravity control, but it occurs in the case of spring control because the springs gets vanished, or the lifetime of the spring gets vanished, then it results in a demolished values. Hence the spring control mechanism is the frequently used mechanism, whereas the gravity control mechanism is the rarely used mechanism because of the major drawback, it should be placed vertically. In the case of spring control mechanism, two springs are employed as shown in the figure while demonstration, and in the case of gravity control method, instead of springs you are going to employ two weights. the spring control mechanism deteriorates with respect to time, whereas gravity control method do not deteriorate with respect to time. Okay, that's all about the second force, that is the different mechanisms related to controlling force. Now, the different mechanisms that are used to produce damping torque are three in quantity. One is air friction damping, second one is fluid friction damping, and last one is eddy current damping. So, firstly, air friction damping. So, there are three different arrangements that I have shown you. So, I can demonstrate all of them. Just a minute. Figure shows an arrangement, the first one or the last one, whatever may be, for obtaining air damping, air friction damping. It consists of a thin metal vane attached to the spindle. The vane moves in a sector shaped box. Any tendency of the moving system to oscillate is damped by the action of air on the vane. Okay. So here a light aluminum piston is moving in the air chamber. Consider the first figure. A light aluminum piston is moving in the air chamber. The clearance between the piston and sides of chamber should be less and uniform. When the piston tries to move inside the chamber, pressure is developed inside the chamber. The developed pressure inside the chamber opposes the motion of the piston, and when the piston tries to move away from the piston head, vacuum is developed. The vacuum inside the chamber opposes the motion of the piston, which in turn arrests the oscillations of the pointer. Next, fluid friction damping. So here I have shown you two different cases. It is also called as oil friction damping. So this figure, in this method, the vanes which are light in weight are attached to the spindle of the moving system and are dipped into the pot of damping oil, which are completely submerged by the oil. The motion of the moving system is always opposed by the friction of damping oil on the vanes. Thus, the damping force thus created always increases with increase in the velocity of vanes. There is no damping force when the vanes are stationary. Okay, the vanes which are attached to the spindle of the moving system, the friction of the moving damping oil opposes the motion of the moving system. The damping forces increases with increase in velocity of vane and viscosity of oil. Here the properties of damping oil are: it must be a good insulator and it must be non-evaporating and non-corrosive, whereas viscosity should not change with respect to temperature. The disadvantages of this method are: oil creeps out if the sealing is not perfect, and the instrument should be placed always in vertical direction. And last method, that is eddy current damping for employment of damping force. The last method is eddy current damping. So in this method of damping, it is based on the principle that when a conducting non-magnetic material is moved in a magnetic field, an EMF is induced in it which causes the currents called eddy currents. Due to this eddy currents, a force exists between them and the field. Due to Lenz's law, this force is always in the opposition to the force causing rotation of the conducting material. Thus, it provides the necessary damping. A disk of conducting material moved in the magnetic field, eddy currents produced in it as per Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. According to Lenz's law, the induced current opposes the cause of its production, that is, motion of the disk. Hence, damping torque is produced. When the disk rotates in the magnetic field, the disk cuts the magnetic lines. The eddy currents are produced in the disk, so that the damping force is produced. This force opposes the very cause of producing it by Lenz's law, and the damping force opposes the rotation of the moving system. The damping force is directly proportional to the magnitude of current. It is directly proportional to the strength of the magnetic field, and it is directly proportional to the velocity of the disk. If velocity of the disk is 0, then automatically the damping force is also 0. Okay, that's all about the different mechanisms that are used to produce different types of forces.